Governor, that is Lenon Kulal, and Oryx Service Station, the fuel supplier, are the center of the 83 million Kenya shillings corruption case. Lenon Kulal had been accused of using his gubernatorial position to influence fuel supply contracts in favor of Oryx, a company alleged that to be linked to him. Now, however, the court found that Oryx was operating under a lease agreement at the time, paying rent of 70,000 Kenya shillings per month to businessman Hesbon Gachagua Ndadi, with no evidence showing that Lenon Kulal exercised control over or derived benefits from the station. All right, moving on, Nandi Senator Samson Cherargei has defended his controversial comments regarding the recent detention of Kenyan activists in Uganda, insisting that his statements were cautionary and that there is no reason to apologize. Speaking to the media, Cherargei emphasized the importance of respecting the sovereignty of other nations, noting that activists who travel abroad to cause unrest should face legal consequences in accordance with the host country's laws. He reiterated that his remarks were intended to caution Kenyans about the legal risk of interfering in other countries' affairs, and maintained that his stance aligns with upholding regional laws and order. Cherargei's comments comes after the release of activist Bob Njagi and Nicholas Zoyo, who were detained in Uganda for allegedly participating in activities deemed disruptive to public order.
Who have misunderstood, or they don't get, is it good Kiswahili or English? There is nothing I will apologize for, because the clarity of mind I have is very clear. When you say finya, it means to press. And you say rudisha hawa nyumbani, tutawamalizia, is to take good care of them. So I don't see anything wrong, nor do I need to apologize. I've seen the hue and cry of a number of Kenyans and social media activists. Those are just busybody social media activists. I still repeat that any person, the integrity, the sovereignty of a country should and must be respected. Any busybodies activists who go to other countries to cause problems should be dealt in those countries through the legal procedures and law that are there within those jurisdictions. And I don't know where this habit of Kenyans, busybody activists from Kenya, can policy other countries like Tanzania, Uganda, among others. And that is why I said yesterday, the leadership of those countries, the President Samia Suluhu government and President Museveni's government, have a right to deal with any troublemaker that comes from Kenya. And they should do so, because they are protecting the peace, the cohesion, the unity and tranquility of those nations. We don't have any business as Kenyans to go and benchmark or police any countries across our borders, in as much as they should be busy doing their thing within this country. And I think we are taking for granted the space and freedom that we enjoy in this country. And I heard one of the abductees that was released from Uganda that he will live to appreciate some of these things. Because what you get over the borders is not as good than the freedom. You know, in this country, the Kenya's busybody activists have already gotten away with insults. They have gotten away with undermining, threatening authorities in this country. And we have found it normal. In other countries, it's abnormal. And therefore, those countries should deal firmly with any troublemakers that come from this country. And I want to ask Kenyans who are either in Tanzania, Uganda, and across the country, when you go there, do what you want to do there. Do the business. Marry if you can't. Be married there if you can't. Do business. Read. If you are a student, go and do the education there.
Now, search and recovery efforts are ongoing in Chesongoch area, where at least 10 people are feared trapped under the rubble following a recent disaster. Rescue teams joined by desperate families continue to dig through debris in hopes to find their loved ones. One body was recovered on Monday, renewing optimism that more victims will be retrieved before the planned burial. However, as the days pass, the grim reality of loss continues to weigh heavily on the affected families, and according to reports, residents are now grappling with a double tragedy, mourning the loss of life while struggling with the destruction of their homes and livelihoods. The humanitarian situation in the area continues to worsen, prompting urgent calls for assistance from both government agencies and humanitarian organizations. Take a look.
Leo napatikana mtoto mmoja na iko nguvu akusema atapatikana tena.
Kijana yangu Martin Chesa hajapatikana na mtoto ya jirani Chebet bado hajapatikana. Na mpaka saa hizi tuko na matumaini tutapata hao wote na tutawashika pamoja tarehe 21 wote.
Tunaendelea kutafuta na tumekaribia watu, tumeongelesha hao sababu hata wametofika sababu watasika nane. Wale 29 wanapatikana na hiyo 10 bado inapotea. Who will this be party?
Tupatie shamba tutoka hapa twende tuishi huko pale pazuri. Hili kwa sababu hakuna shamba lingine naweza jenga nyumba. Ni hapo tu ni pale pangu yenye naishi na watoto.
Now, moving on to the corridors of justice. Now, the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, that is the EACC, has intensified efforts to trace financial transactions linked to money laundering in Uganda, with authorities from Tanzania and South Sudan also seeking Kenya's assistance to uncover cross-border illicit financial networks. Now, speaking during a regional workshop on addressing money laundering and recovering stolen assets in Nairobi, EACC Chief Executive Officer Abdi Mohamud revealed that East African nations have agreed to strengthen cooperation in combating corruption and financial crimes. Mohamud emphasized the need for joint investigations and asset recovery efforts to curb illicit financial flows across the region, noting that collaboration among member states is vital in dismantling criminal networks and ensuring accountability.
It's all the possibilities that some of the monies that is stolen from one country can end up in another country. We've had our Tanzanian counterparts once in a while coming to us. We've been going to our Ugandan counterparts. Some South Sudan colleagues have also been following a few cases of theirs. So by bringing these people together, we first of all want to create what is called informal networks. Informal networks work better than formal networks, because when you know someone across the border, it is easier for you to do an email and to request them to assist you before even the formal request is made.
Generally, of course, as a region, we are still not doing very, very well in the area of asset recovery, in the area of anti-corruption, in the area of money laundering, like you rightly said. But of course, Kenya has done so much better in the area of asset recovery as a region because they have this civil forfeiture, like Mr. Abdi was talking about.
Africa loses around $90 billion every year as a continent in illicit financial flows. A country like Kenya that has, economically is one of the machines of the region, is one of the most important economical centers, loses quite a lot to illicit financial flows. So it is important to address this, but this issue cannot be addressed only at the national level. It has to be addressed at the regional and international level.
All right, moving on, a multi-agency team led by the Kenya Revenue Authority, that is KRA, has intercepted a 40-foot container at the port of Mombasa carrying 9.5 million illicit cigarettes disguised as sanitary towels. Now, the shipment, valued at 200 million Kenya shillings, could have cost the government 76 million Kenya shillings in lost tax revenue. The contraband was packed in 954 boxes, each containing 500 packets of 20 cigarettes. Authorities described the seizure as a significant success in the ongoing fight against illicit trade and tax evasion. KRA officials emphasized that such operations are crucial to safeguarding national revenue, curbing smuggling, and protecting consumers from substandard products entering the market. Investigations into the origin and intended recipients of the consignment are ongoing, with suspects expected to face prosecution under Kenya's anti-smuggling and tax evasion laws.
The container 9368112, it's a 1x40 container. It was It is said to contain, or it was manifested as containing tampons. Number of cartons were given as 1,100. Consigner was given as Igma Trade Thyroid, and consignee was given as Lotec Foundation based in Nairobi, Kenya. The vessel that brought in this consignment was CMA, CGM, and upon arrival we did our risk assessment based on the information that we had gotten from U.S. Custom and Border Protection, and we were able to confirm that the container was to us suspicious, or the content was suspicious. After we have done the verification, which has been witnessed by all the agencies concerned, including also Interpol, we have been able to establish that the first three rows were found to contain sanitary towels. That is 146 boxes, each containing 480 pieces. Then the other content, which is a huge consignment, consists of Supermatch cigarettes marked for export and made in Uganda. Each packet has 500 of 20 pieces. So in total, one package has 1,000 sticks, 10,000 sticks. What we have intercepted here demonstrate the true meaning of international coordination and information sharing. This collaboration approach has proven essential in disrupting a flow of smuggled cigarettes and many other products. As recently you saw, there was a consignment of drugs that were intercepted in the high seas, and it is all about information sharing.
All right, moving on to the corridors of justice. Former Kiambu Governor Ferdinand Waitito continues to face other legal challenges as the hearing for his 2024 criminal case has been postponed to next week. Waitito, currently serving a sentence for corruption-related offences at Community Maximum Prison, was charged over remarks he allegedly made on September 29th of 2024 at Ruto Stadium in Kiambu County. And according to the charge sheet dated October 1st of 2024, the statements directed at groups including hustlers, market vendors, border operators, clergy and teachers were intended to provoke a breach of the peace and suggested violent outcomes against political figures. In his speech, Waitito appeared to condemn President William Ruto over the impeachment motion against former Deputy President Gachagua, stating that if Gachagua goes home, Ruto will also go home. Now, the alleged conduct is said to contravene Section 94, subsection 1 of the Penal Code, which prohibits offensive conduct likely to incite public unrest. Prosecutors argue that Waitito made the statements publicly with the aim of creating tensions among the audience. Right now, let's talk matters politics. And former Deputy President and Democracy for Citizens Party leader Rigathi Gachagua has launched a scathing attack on President William Ruto, declaring that the opposition is determined to ensure he does not secure a second term in office. Speaking during the funeral service of Terry Wanjiru Kariuki, wife of the late J.M. Kariuki, Gachagua accused the Ruto administration of corruption, inefficiency, and betraying the trust of Kenyans through unfulfilled promises. His remarks came in response to President Ruto's recent statements that the opposition's agenda is focused on dividing the nation. Gachagua dismissed the claims, insisting that the opposition mission is not about creating division, but about restoring accountability and integrity in government. Take a look.
Nimeona huyu Kasongo jana akilia akisema ya kwamba ati kuna wanaume 5 wanakutana ati kugawa serikali. Huyu Kasongo hana habari, amechanganyikiwa. Unajua tangu alienda pale Kisumu, pale Bondo kulia machozi ya uongo, akisema atanalia mambo ya Raila. Kalonzo akaenda pale, Mama Aida na wote familia wakasema wanatabua Kalonzo. Huyu Kasongo amechanganyikiwa. Sasa wewe bwana Kithinji, listen here. Wewe una habari? Hao wanaume 5 wanakutana na mama moja. Hakuna serikali wanagawa. Wanapanga vile utaenda nyumbani. Hiyo ndio kazi iko mbele. Na hakuna mtu nagawa serikali. Tumeambiwa na watu ya Kenya kazi yetu ya kwanza ni kupeleka Kasongo nyumbani. Mambo ya serikali tutaongea baadaye. Hiyo ni propaganda ile umezoea kwa magazeti, ile unalipa ati kuna watu wanakutana kugawa serikali. Wakenya wametuambia tushikane kwa sababu umeharibu Kenya kila kitu. Watoto umeua. Wale wengine umesema wapigwe risasi muuu. Masomo ililetwa na Kibaki umeharibu. Matibabu ililetwa na Uhuru umeharibu. Biashara imekwama. Mashamba ya watu maskini umechukua. Wakenya wanatuambia tukusafirishe uende nyumbani. Kwa hivyo ukiona hiyo wanaume 5 na mama moja wakikutana, wanatafuta mtu moja ya kupeleka wewe nyumbani. Mambo ya serikali tutaongea baadaye.
Right, at the same time, the APK party leader Eugene Wamalwa has reiterated the opposition commitment to unity, insisting that they will not join the government under any circumstances. Now speaking during the funeral service of Terry Wanjiru Kariuki, wife of the late J.M. Kariuki, Wamalwa emphasized that the opposition remains steadfast in upholding its principles and working in the best interest of the country. He underscored the need for integrity and accountability in leadership, noting that the opposition focus is to champion the rights and welfare of ordinary Kenyans.
Lakini nilipokuwa nakuja hapa, nilipata simu nyingi sana. Watu walikuwa wananiuliza, wewe Wamalwa, tunasikia wewe na Kalonzo mnatafutwa na mtu anaitwa Kasongo. Hizo simu zimetoka Kenya yote siku ya leo. Nilipofika hapa na Kalonzo, Rigiji akatuuliza, nasikia nyinyi wawili mnatafutwa na Kasongo. Na akatuambia mkiitwa msisahau kuniita. Rigiji, nataka nikwambie ya kwamba tukiitwa, mimi na Kalonzo tutaambia Kasongo, huyo kuzo wetu Rigiji ndio spokesman wetu. Kama unatafuta Wamalwa, kama unatafuta Kalonzo, wewe enda kule wa Munyoro, tafuta Rigiji uzungumze na yeye. Otherwise sisi tumeamua kutembea pamoja. Tulianza safari na Kalonzo 2 years ago. Mwaka huu kianza tukaungana na Rigiji. Na tunataka tuhakikishie watu wa mlima huu, watu wa Nyandarua, vile umetuona hapa tukiwa watatu na tuko timu kubwa ya one term. Sisi hatutawachana. Kasongo hatutafuta asitutafute hadi tumurudishe Sugoi kule alitoka. Kenya remains one of the most unequal countries. We now have 10 trillionaires and 25 million beggars who live below the poverty line. One of the trillionaires anatoka kule Sugoi. Mwaka jana aliorodheshwa kuwa the most corrupt president in the whole world. Mwaka huu ameorodheshwa kuwa the richest president in the whole world. He is a trillionaire in 3 years. Na sisi tumesema tukimwachia aingie second term, there will be no country left.
All right, moving on, Bungoma Senator David Wafula Wakoli has strongly criticized the state of health sector across Kenya, describing it as a deteriorating despite government efforts to boost standards in some referral hospitals. Speaking in the National Assembly on Thursday, Wakoli, a member, or rather, that was on today, on Tuesday, Wakoli, speaking in the National Assembly, said that he highlighted the challenges faced by ordinary Kenyans in rural areas, including shortages of essential medicines, poorly maintained dispensaries, insufficient numbers of doctors, and a lack of medical personnel in several counties. Now, he noted that the Senate Health Committee has conducted visits to several counties and observed that the situation remains alarming. The committee is scheduled to visit Bungoma County later this week to assess the conditions of local healthcare facilities firsthand.
It is very disturbing, and I want to concur with the statement of my good Senator Cherargei, that the status of infrastructure, equipment and human resources in our various health facilities is wanting and in a downward trend. Honorable Speaker, we have visited various county referral facilities in the country. We have gone to Isiolo, Marsabit, Makueni, Kitui, Garissa, Laikipia. Honorable Speaker, and the latest was in Kiambu yesterday. Honorable Speaker, is perturbing to visit facilities that by their names are huge, but their service is pathetic and inhumane. Honorable Speaker, we visited the morgue in Kiambu. They didn't have refrigerators to keep bodies safe. People were lumped there as garbage, Honorable Speaker. The situation was not humane, Honorable Speaker, and I was referring to my friends and telling them, Kenyans are suffering, toiling and moiling. In hospital, they are being exposed to serious medication pain, and in their deaths, they are being dumped as if no one cares. Honorable Speaker, this House and senators, wherever we come from, we must step up and stand for our people. Medical incinerators, Honorable Speaker, in virtually all the facilities is wanting. Some facilities are dumping medical remains open air and children are living around there. And when you look at the data, they have taken over 3 months before they dispose of those things. And the scenario is worse in many other parts of the country. So I want to call upon this House and my committee led by Senator Mandago. This week we'll be touring my great county of Bungoma and Kakamega. We will call a spade a spade. We'll call out these gray areas. And time is up, equally, Honorable Speaker, that the national government, as it supports counties, they must also, as they support, they must call the counties to order. Because governors are turning out to associate themselves with projects that are from national government, but they want to disown their own facilities. They are hiding their own facilities and taking credit from bonga points of His Excellency the President. So we are supposed to stand firm and defend our people. Some of the pharmacies, Honorable Speaker, medicines are expired. And you find even in operation theaters, expired drugs, in ambulances, expired drugs, people working in those facilities without equipment and safety gears.
All right, moving on, President William Ruto has led celebrations marking 25 years of East African Community, that is the EAC Regional Corporation, during the third day of the Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises, that is the MSME Trade Fair in Nairobi. The event also coincided with the annual EAC Day. Speaking at the trade fair, President William Ruto reaffirmed Kenya's commitment to regional integration and lauded small businesses as pivotal drivers of economic growth and job creation. He highlighted initiatives such as the Hustler Fund, which has enabled thousands of small enterprises to access affordable credit and scale their operations. Lisa Mutinda files the story.
It's been the third day of the Micro, Small and Medium Enterprise Trade Fair and also the East African Community Day. President William Ruto has led celebrations making 25 years of regional cooperation at the East African Community Micro, Small and Medium Enterprise Trade Fair in Nairobi. He reaffirmed Kenya's commitment to regional integration and hailed small business as key drivers of economic growth and job creation. The president highlighted initiatives such as Hustler Fund, which has provided vital support to thousands of small enterprises across the country, enabling them to access affordable credit and expand their venture.
This trade fair, and I have gone through the stalls and spoken to many entrepreneurs here, and the excitement, the optimism that I saw in their enterprises, and the partnerships that are being established, and the friendship that is building within them is a great encouragement that It was right 25 years ago. It is right today. This trade fair has equally evolved and is no longer merely a marketplace for goods, but a strategic platform for skills exchange, innovation, partnership, and structured dialogue aimed at dismantling barriers of trade and movement of people. As we commemorate this Silver Jubilee, we are mindful of the defining forces shaping our world today.
The event also saw Nairobi Governor Johnson Sakaja and Cabinet Secretary for Trade Wycliffe Oparanya emphasize support for entrepreneurs through finance, digital transformation, and market expansion.
See MSME's Trade Fair, marking 25 years since the signing of the EAC Treaty, exemplifies this role, providing a key platform for showcasing MSME potential across the region and beyond. Here in Nairobi, Your Excellency, the story of MSMEs is the story of our economy. As Kenya's capital and largest city, I can say Nairobi is the home of MSMEs in the country and in the region. We contribute 27.5% of the national GDP, with most of the businesses being micro, small or medium enterprises.
The roundtable provided a platform to access regional awareness on the insights provided by the global MSME ministerial white papers, which concentrated on best practices, challenges, and opportunities in the area of access to finance, digital transformation, and green transition. The discussions included the need for tailored regulatory reforms and capacity building initiatives that reflect the unique structural vulnerabilities of East African community economies, especially those affecting women and youth-led enterprises.
Executive Director of International Trade Center Pamela Koch announced the opening of Center's first regional office outside Geneva at the United Nations complex in Nairobi. The trade fair themed micro, small and medium enterprise for regional economic and transformation brings together innovators from 8 East African countries to promote enterprise and cross-border trade. Lisa Motinda reporting for EBN TV, Nairobi.
All right, moving on to sports. And the first batch of Team Kenya is set to depart for Japan on Tuesday to participate in the Tokyo 2025 Deaf Olympics. The team's chief executive officer, Duncan Korea, has confirmed that the 25th edition of the two-week the quadrennial multi-sport event is scheduled to commence on Saturday with an opening ceremony at the Tokyo Metropolitan Gymnasium. Now, the Games are expected to host over 6,000 participants from across the globe, including athletes and officials. Kenya, traditionally a strong contender in the Deaflympics, will be represented by 180-member contingent comprising athletes, team officials, interpreters, delegates, and medical personnel.
The arrangements in Tokyo are complete. They are ready to roll out the games. I think all the concerned countries have confirmed participation, and all the arrangements have been done. We visited right from the airport, going to what they are calling Deaf Square, where they'll be doing accreditation. Then they have transport hubs where the teams will be assembling to be taken to various competition and practice venues. And also accommodation for all the teams. Arrangements are complete. So in terms of preparation in Japan, everything is ready. For Team Kenya, we are also ready, and we are continuing to finalize our final plans to travel to Tokyo for the games. We expect the first batch of our team to leave the country on Tuesday and arrive there on Wednesday, and then the second batch will follow on Wednesday, and the final batch will be on Thursday. The opening ceremony of the game is supposed to take place on 15th And the same 15th, I think we are going to have a match in handball for Team Kenya. But the events will be rolling out slowly but slowly, because I believe athletics will start on 17th. We have swimming starting on 20th, and golf starts on 18th. So I think our team is ready, and we are very anxious to land in Japan and see that we post good results. And our hope is that we are going to get better results than we did last time in Brazil. Yeah, that has been, I don't know, somehow this week that has been a constant subject, which I've seen even in our social media platforms, where I think the athletes are saying that they are performing well is driven by ugali. Unfortunately, in Japan, we don't have ugali, but we are making arrangements to ensure that we carry some maize flour, so that when we get to Tokyo, we can have them eating their favorite meal. If that is what will enable them to win medals, I think as leaders in the team, we can give them what they want and ensure that they don't have an excuse of not winning medals.
Alright, it is exactly 35 minutes past the top of the hour. That particular story wraps up our program here on EBN Prime Edition. With thanks, of course, keeping us company until this particular minute. Our sign language interpreter tonight has been Laura Mondi. My name is Martin Macharia. Do yourself a lovely night, and as always, let's do this again when God says we do.